Hey everybody, today we are talking about Kitchen by Banana Yoshimoto. Okay. I have really wanted to read this book for the longest time and just haven't because I never got around to buying it, and every time I checked Libby it wasn't on there. But my town's library recently just got an upgrade to a brand new building, so much bigger than it used to be, and I found this book there in person and I was so surprised to see it there and got it immediately. Kitchen is also not like anything I expected it to be. I did not read the back cover. I usually don't. And so when I started reading it, very soon we find out that one of the characters' mothers is trans. And I was just surprised that there was a trans character in this because this came out in like 1988, and I just didn't expect that to have a book that was all the way from like that time to have a really important character be trans, because as far as I knew, I didn't know very much. I tried to look up some more information since I've read it about the Japanese community and like their culture and like if they're accepting of that over there, especially like in the 80s. And from what I found, they kind of just don't really acknowledge it. So like obviously there are trans people all over the world, but in Japan they just kind of like don't really necessarily act like it's a thing there, even though it is. And so I was just surprised to have that in this book, and it was a pleasant surprise because the way that they wrote her, I just think Banana wrote her, this character, just so well, and makes you fall in love with them before you even know anything like about that aspect of them. Like we just like she just comes into the door, comes from home one night, and our main character is there and sees her come through the door, and she's like, oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and talks about how just beautiful, just all over, just like her whole body, her whole face, her hair, just like everything about her, she's just like the most beautiful woman she's ever seen. And it's not till afterwards, because she just comes home real quick and then she has to go again because she was just stopping real quick on like her break or something, and then she left again because she just wanted to say hi to Mikage, which is the main character, and then she just introduced herself real quick and then left. And so it's not until that point that it's revealed, like after she's left, that she used to be a man. So let me back up a little bit. Mikage has recently lost her grandmother and was like the only living relative she had. And so she knew she was going to have to move out of her grandmother's home now. And Yoichi is someone who her grandmother knew and had met. And so she saw him at the funeral and everything. And he ended up offering her a place to stay at his place with him and his mom, while she's still trying to figure out like where she's gonna live after that. And so she decides to take him up on that offer and moves in. And so that is why she hasn't met Eriko, the mother, yet. And so as soon as Eriko goes back to her job, Yoichi is like, did you think she was beautiful? And Mikage's like, oh yes. And he's like, she used to be my dad. Anytime that she's referenced as her now self, like it's always like she and her and mom. But when they talk about her past, when she was a man, then that's when they would say like he and him and father or dad. Just being very respectful of like, this is who he used to be or who he was, or rather, this is who she was. Just being respectful of like the time and the transition. I just think that it was such an interesting story that I didn't know that I was going to end up reading. Like I thought it was going to be just, mostly about a kitchen, which it is. It's very much about her, Mikage, and how she finds peace in a kitchen and how she loves to be in a kitchen, and she starts to learn how to cook better because she feels good being in there. And there's just something about it that she like doesn't want to ever be apart from. And so even like, you know, her grandma's kitchen and even this kitchen at Yoichi's place, like she just has this strong just like a strong peace and comfort of kitchens and what they represent and what they bring, how they bring joy to people through food that is created there and stuff like that. So I just really like how grief was represented in here, and how there was different ways for people to grieve, and how they can show it, and how they learn from it, how they grow from it. I just think that it was really well done in this book. And that's really all I want to say about it, because I don't want to give away any big plot points since it's only 100 pages. And then right after that, there's like a 30-page shorter like novella called Moonlight Shadow. And in this one, it's completely different characters, but it is also centered around the topic of grief and how the main character lost someone and how they deal with grief. And the way that it goes for them is different than how it was represented in Kitchen. And so I think the two go quite well together, because they're both talking about loss and grief and how different people deal with those things in different ways. And there's just examples of how they can be, how people going through it can react to grief in their own way. And so this had several examples of that, since we had two separate stories, Kitchen being the longer one, but then also having a short and sweet story of someone who lost somebody that was someone that they loved in a different way, like more like in a romantic relationship, versus like in the first one where the loss was of a relative. And so I really liked both of them, and how they how it was written. I just think it was really well written. So anyways, if you've read it already, let me know what your thoughts were. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.